how's marijuana legalization going? The price is dropping. First off, in this first paragraph right here, John Larson talks about how he was against it, and then he is now one of the first people in it. And right over here, the governor now is talking about this. So let's just stay focused on this one. John Larson, you know, this our entire society right now is going through this new perception. We have been taught, indoctrinated into thinking that marijuana is this horrible thing, and that if you do this, it's a gateway drug into doing cocaine and all these harder drugs. But we have to realize that marijuana is a plant, and it's as these people are I don't want to say they're waking up to it, but as they have children and as they see their children smoking, and they begin to also remember, well, yeah, when I smoked weed, it wasn't actually that bad. I'm not a bad person, and they're beginning to see a a a difference. I mean, the where the information is coming from, people telling us that marijuana is bad and that marijuana is a gateway drug. They're now smoking this, and they're realizing this isn't a gateway drug. So they're beginning to question the legitimacy of where this information is coming from, which is the sad thing is it's coming from our educational school system, our government, the TV, all these other places we've been indoctrinated in the last 100 years of westernized thinking. We're beginning to question them, questioning the legitimacy of their information, because from our own personal experience, we're not getting the results that they say that's going to happen. The governor, at the end of the day, the cat's out of the bag, guys. I mean, you can't, once the cat's out of the bag, you can't put it back in. And so this governor, he wants to be reelected. Why does he want to be reelected? Of course, it's because at the end of the day, he has a stable income. He doesn't have to work for his income really, because I mean, people pay the taxes, and then once he's in the office, at the end of the day, he just collects a paycheck for God knows how long, until he comes up for re-election again. And so at the end of the day, he's coming up for re-election. People are saying, "Listen, I actually want this." And so what is he going to do? Of course, he's going to switch his stance on it, but also not going to do it quickly. He's not going to say, "Oh, I go out and smoke weed." He's not going to say that. He's going to say, "Listen, I am not for it. I'm not against it. I'm not going to put resources into arresting people anymore." And then probably next time he gets reelected, he's going to have a big old joint in his mouth, because then that's how much of society is going to be for it. Who knows? Maybe 10 years from now. Because at the end of the day, it really comes down to their. You have to remember, these people that are governors and politicians, they're 40, 50, 60, 70 years old. They have been hardcore indoctrinated into thinking that if they do this, their reputation is going to be destroyed. No one's going to want to elect them, and they're terrified. So really, at the end of the day, everyone is living in a world of constant fear. And that's what really sucks, is that in every aspect and every level, our society has used fear mongering to control the masses, control the people. And what's really even ironic or funny about the situation is that all they've done is use fear mongering to for us to control ourselves. I mean, at the end of the day, how do you actually control 7 billion people? You don't. You create an environment of fear, which then they don't step outside that fear because they think they're going to get in trouble. And also, again, down here, they're just basically explaining that, just because you're going to legalize something doesn't mean everyone's going to go do it. I loved it when Ron Paul stood up on stage back in the 2012 President candidacy, where he says, "I bet you guys, if you guys go legalize heroin right now, we're not going to go out there and be like, oh, let's go do heroin."
Suggesting that heroin and prostitution are an exercise of liberty?
Well, you know, I probably never used those words. You put those words someplace. But yes, in essence, if I leave it to the states, it's going to be up to the states. Up until this past century, you know, for over 100 years they were legal. What you're inferring is, you know what? If we legalize heroin tomorrow, everybody's going to use heroin. How many people here would use heroin if it was legal? I bet nobody would put the hand, oh yeah, I need the government to take care of me. I don't want to use heroin, so I need these laws.
I never thought heroin would get applause here in South Carolina.
You know, that's just not the case, and that's what they're finding here. Just because you go and tell someone, okay, now I give you permission, you are now allowed to do it, does not mean that does not mean that they're going to just go out, run and do it because we're some stupid herd of people that can't make our own decisions whether we like something or whether we dislike something. Um, I think the biggest thing to remember about about legalization and the prices and all that stuff is what actually creates the value of marijuana. You know, when you get it really into it, it's not once you understand how the plant grows, it doesn't matter if you're whether it's tomatoes or cucumbers or orchids or whatever. You know, it's about the value of marijuana is a perception. And the reason why it has such a large value is because of of the consequences of smoking it, or or the consequences of what man has done uh, to create a world where if you do it, you're going to a large amount of your time, or a portion of your time is going to be taken away, or resources that you've worked hard for will be dramatically dwindled away because of dealing with lawyer fees and all that stuff. So at the end of the day, um, just like Tulip Mania. If you I don't know if anyone's ever really looked into Tulip Mania, but back in the day, I would highly recommend it. I think it was in Denmark in 1637 time period. Seeing a tulip was capable of purchasing a beachfront property, and one single tulip, yes, a tulip, and the value of it was because no one knew how to grow tulips. Well, right now, at the end of the day, we are running into a number of problems. You know, first off, 98% of the population really doesn't know how to grow anything. That's the first thing. Second, we have which will always create there will always be a value where someone can't do that. The second thing at the end of the day is that this plant is a medicine. It does make you feel better. It allows you to get rid of all the BS in your life, and allows you to just focus down and really think and consider your environment, what's around you in a lot of ways. So there's always going to be a demand for any type of medicine that you can grow your own, and you don't need to go take pills. So the next thing is the their marketing. Most people right now, or at the last 100 years or so, or 60 years, whatever you want to call it, since this plant's been being suppressed, um, the value of herb has been in the perception of the amount of time that, or the consequence of selling it and distributing it and all that stuff. Well, you know, if people at the end of the day get off of that whole bandwagon and start getting onto how do I market this product to the highest possible value? How do I explain to the customer base why why this product needs to stay valuable? Um, if we fixate on those reasons and start explain the features and the benefits of this plant, and explain that they take care of their plants in this certain manner, I think the they won't have to worry about marijuana potentially ever losing its value, because remember, at the end of the day, value is a perception, and just like our government has created a world that we're beginning to realize is not true from firsthand experience, it is also very easy to create a value behind the plant, and just by explaining the value of it to people. So, hope you enjoyed this. Have a great day.